Hello. Hello. Hi, Preeti. Sulbha, hi. Hi, Nakul. Hello. Hi, Rosh. Guys, hi, Anu. Guys, today is a little special because a lot of us would be thinking in our minds about, infertility, and we're all home in this COVID time. How to plan a child? How to go and conceive, and how do we go about all these issues at this period of time? So I'm going to call the doctor herself. It's actually a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to have this conversation with one of our best IVF specialists in Mumbai. Actually, I'm going to add a little more words to it once I call her here. So I'm going to just wait for some more people to join in. Hi, Preeti. Hello. We have two Preetis here. Hi, Preeti. Hello. Hi, Sandhya. So I'm going to call Dr. Sulbha, and we shall hear from her herself, an experienced IVF specialist.
Hi, Vinti.
Hello, how are you, Sulbha? Good to see you.
Same here, Vinti. And hi, everyone who's joined in.
Hello, everybody. Yes, we do have Sulbha with us. So, first of all, I would like to welcome you, Dr. Sulbha. It's an honor and it's my pleasure to have you. And let me congratulate you. Actually, 2020 has not been bad for you. You've been listed number 9 in Mumbai. Can you tell us about that? And congratulations, Sulbha. So
Thank you so much.
Number 9 best IVF specialist in Mumbai. Can you tell us something about that, please?
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinti. So I've been practicing IVF for the last 16 years. And this survey was a survey that was done by Digimedia Inc. and published in India Today, where they did a peer survey of consultants in Mumbai and took their opinion about who they felt amongst their colleagues were amongst the top specialists in every different category. And they had 9 doctors listed in IVF, and I'm privileged to be one of them.
I think that's amazing, and it's my privilege and my pleasure to have you with me right now, Sulbha, and a big hug to you, and God bless you. Also, this is something which comes from the heart. I think you are actually, nobody's seen God, right? You are actually an angel for a lot of who don't have kids, and they come to you because they see with all the doctors, I guess, but even with you people carry that thing on you that today they've come to us for a child, and you actually give them that. So for them, they don't see God, they don't know. For them, you are the one who's actually made them feel that there is God, and they see it in you people. So that's amazing, doctor. I think that's really, really nice.
Thank you for the kind words, Vinti.
Get to hear all this a lot, right? That you're a God. Yes, absolutely.
We do, but I always tell everybody that, of course, if we are not God, we play a very small role. But yes, what I do feel very good about, as you would be aware, this is also Mental Health Awareness Month going on. And women who come to us who've not been able to conceive, they're amongst the most stressed out of the population. And it really feels good to be able to make a difference, to hold their hands through this. It's not, they don't sit at home and send us just their uterus. They come to us as a complete woman.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I get your point. So should we start, Doctor? We have a lot of questions, and should we start?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to start with all the questions which I got from my DMs, and when we discussed over the conversation, I have all filled in with me. Then what we do is we're going to ask the audience whatever questions are there, and then in the end we have a little rapid fire, and that's how we're going to go about the show. So
sure.
And so guys, I'm going to start up with the questions. If they're going to be answered right here, well and good. Otherwise, feel free to ask your questions, please. So, Doc, the first thing is, of course, we keep hearing about IVF and infertility and surrogacy, and now apparently in the news and the movies, everywhere, it's like a big deal, right? Is it true infertility is on a rise?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially in the cities. It's rising at an alarming pace. So there was, in fact, this data published by the International Institute of Population Sciences for India, and they said that in the last 3 decades, it's increased by 50%. almost 1 out of 6 couples who are trying to have a baby will face a difficulty. And there are now about 30 million infertile couples in India. Another reason we hear a lot about this, and this is actually a good reason, is because slowly and steadily the stigma associated with the word barren or banj, we are starting to do away with that. We see people opening up, we see people coming forward. In fact, now it's not even believed to be just a woman's issue. 50% of couples, there will be a male issue as well. So it's becoming quite common now, couples coming forward to fertility clinics, having their evaluation done and finding out their options.
Okay, no, yeah, because what you're saying we have a few questions covering up to this topic also. Okay, the next thing is that what are the life factors that can affect fertility? The basic, according to you, yes.
Yeah. So, the first and foremost, the single most important determinant of a couple's fertility is the age of the female partner. Now, you see, in the previous generations, the average age to have a child was 21. But in today's day and age, it's as important for the woman as it is for the man to focus on her education, her career. And having a child before you reach your 30s is not very high on the priority list. But by then, the biological clock has already started ticking. So women, this is something that not many people are aware. We are born with a fixed number of eggs. And we can never make new eggs in our entire lifetime. It's like being born with a swimming pool of water that just keeps getting used throughout our life. You reach a point where you're left with almost next to none. Yes. And this decline is seen in the quantity as well as the quality of eggs, So as time goes by, it gets more difficult. But there are a lot of other lifestyle factors as well. It's become so hectic, so stressful. Everybody's routine, sleep deprivation, there's obesity, there's unhealthy eating patterns. And there's another very interesting fact that a lot of people are aware that smoking causes cancer, but they are not aware that smoking causes infertility as well.
Yeah, I didn't know that also. So, yeah, to know that as well. Though I'm not planning to have any babies anymore, but so I swear. Okay, coming back to the next question. When should a couple consult a fertility specialist?
So if you have been trying to have a baby and it's been a year and you haven't conceived yet, that is the time when you need to consult a fertility specialist, because 85% of couples will take up to a year to conceive. But that being said, this is true for women who are less than 35 years of age. If they're over 35, there's no point waiting a year. They're running out of time. Then they need to come sooner. Also, if they've had associated problems like irregular periods, which could be PCOS, or painful periods, which could be due to endometriosis, then they need to come sooner. They need not wait that long.
Okay. What would their basic evaluation involve, basically, doctor?
So first and foremost, when a woman comes to me, we always do an ultrasound in the very first visit. It's a very simple test. It takes 2 minutes. It's completely painless. The ultrasound immediately tells me how much of an ovarian reserve are we left with. And then we decide based on that, what would be the treatment options we can offer. Apart from that, a semen analysis should be done right at the start. A lot of men are reluctant to get it done. But like I was saying earlier, in 50% of cases, there is a sperm factor problem as well, low counts or low motility. Other than this, there are some basic hormonal tests like thyroid and prolactin for the woman. So once this basic evaluation is done, then we are in a position to guide them about what options they have.
Okay. What can they do to improve their chances of conceiving, doctor? Like a basic thing. What are the basic things that they can do to make the chance?
So, a lot of times people who are not being able to conceive are also side by side suffering from polycystic ovaries, PCOS. That's very common as well. And PCOS goes hand in hand with weight gain. So losing even 5 to 10% of body weight, correcting your eating habits or putting in an exercise regime also increases your chances tremendously of getting pregnant. Other than that, if they have a hormonal imbalance, they need to correct that as well. If there is a thyroid or a prolactin imbalance, these are the basic things that they can do to start with. Now, if a couple is trying naturally at home, then it's important for them to know what is the fertile period for in their case, because it differs depending on the length of the cycle. So understand that and plan at that time.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that the female age plays a very important role in her chances of conceiving. What are the other options who would who don't want to, plan a pregnancy just yet. They have other things in mind and they don't want to really think of having a pregnancy chart in front of them. What do you think
This is a
about it?
very valid question because, I get women coming to me even in their 40s saying, we're not planning a baby, please freeze our eggs. It, unfortunately, it's already too late by then. Also, another thing that people get influenced by when we see international reports of women conceiving in their 40s and having babies. Another very interesting fact is that Indian women, our ovarian reserve is 6 years less than the ovarian reserve of European women. So a European woman, the chances she has of conceiving naturally at 40, we would have at 34. So somebody who's already crossed 30 and not planning a baby anytime soon, it's worthwhile considering egg freezing. It's not a complicated process. It's simple, it's straightforward, and say at around the age of 30 or 32, if she decides to freeze her eggs, then it takes the weight off your mind. It's an investment you've done for your future. And then you can marry whenever you find somebody, you're ready for it. You may even be 40 or 42 at that time. By then, you would have run out of any good quality eggs, but you still have eggs frozen when you were 32. And you can use those good quality eggs to have a baby still. And even for married couples not yet planning a baby and the age is running out, it's worthwhile freezing the embryos and then you can have the baby later.
Okay, hang on, Sulbha. I mean, I will go to my question later on. I mean, have it actually come in the mind of all the Indian women in our country that they have to start freezing eggs before okay, yeah, they all are career oriented and they all want to go ahead with their work, but has it somewhere come there that yes, let's just freeze our eggs? Has it come in there?
No.
Yes.
No, the awareness is still not that much. So we've had quite a few women coming forward and doing this, but we even see in our own friend circle that people don't realize they are running out of time. They think we have time, we'll plan it, later on. But even if you don't want to freeze your eggs right now, at least get a fertility evaluation done, basic to know what is your ovarian reserve, what are your hormonal levels, so you at least know how much time you have in hand. And if you have a very good ovarian reserve, you can just wait.
And how do you all plan to do this and spread the awareness? What are the ways of spreading the awareness? Because everybody would want to know, right? That, okay, let's just get this sorted and just put it on the side. Yeah. What is the way to do it? I mean, how
So
you
we like what I'm doing with you right now, for example, or I've even started posting on my social media, hoping that it reaches out to more people, that they're aware about it. It's all right if they want to plan a baby. Being child free is also an option, but it shouldn't be that then they're 40 or 42 and then we do get these couples who come to us at that age and say, oh, we wish we knew about this when we were 35. So they should at least know the option exists.
Absolutely, Doctor. I think it's amazing you're chatting about this. And for all the viewers who are watching us, please DM Dr. Sulbha later on. She will be free to answer everybody's questions. And as I said, she is one of the best doctors we have in India, in Mumbai city. And I'm fortunate to be sitting with her live here on the conversation. Okay, so the next question is, Doc, that what are the treatment options for older women? Would surrogacy help? Because that is, honestly, surrogacy, we only hear, I mean, we do know a lot of couples, but celebrities have made it very open now. But, okay, now I want you to answer what is this thing about, this whole thing, what I just asked you about the treatment options for older women.
Yeah. So let's start with surrogacy. Now, this is also a very common misconception. I get so many queries from women who are 37, 40, 42 saying, my age has gone by, should I take a surrogate? Now, as age passes, fortunately, the uterus remains a strong organ. Your capacity to carry the baby does not go away. Surrogacy is meant for someone who is physically incapable of carrying a child, somebody who unfortunately needed to have her uterus removed. If her uterus is scarred, or if she has a medical disorder like a heart disease that would put her at risk. For women whose age is going by, the problem is not with carrying the baby. The problem is with them running out of eggs that can be used for her to make an embryo that will become a baby. So for older women, when I say older women, I mean 36, 37 and over that. There are still times when after doing an assessment, we feel that yes, of course, a cycle is possible with your own eggs. If they have a very good reserve, they can even try simpler treatment options like IUI. If they have got a reduced reserve, then they may need an IVF because an IVF gives them a much higher chance of success. And for women who have almost completely run out of reserve, they may need to take donated eggs. These are basically the options that we have.
Okay, coming back to the surrogacy, doctor, okay, explaining the female, like the wife, is easier, okay, fine, surrogacy, how do the husbands react to it?
For women who need surrogacy?
Yes.
So the surrogacy laws have become quite,
Does
strict enough.
the ego come in between somewhere? The male
No.
ego? No.
Male ego comes into the picture when there is a problem with his sperm count. It doesn't come into the picture when there is a problem with the woman. So there are a lot of times when they are not able to accept it, where we have to do a lot of counseling. Counseling plays a very important role in all our fertility appointments. There is a lot of time we spend explaining thoroughly to the couple what the problem is, what the options are. And even with low sperm counts, it's a misconception that you would only need donated sperms. We have options where using very few sperms, we can make the wife pregnant, but they don't necessarily have to take donated. Yeah, so that is where the male ego comes into the picture from what I've seen.
But they accept it easily that yes, surrogacy is the answer, let's go with it.
If it's not possible for the wife to carry the child, they do accept it. Yes. Yeah.
To know that. Okay, what is the basic difference between IUI and IVF?
So IUI is a much simpler treatment option. Basically, when a couple is trying naturally at home, the sperms are all deposited in the vagina, from where a lot will leak out. That's normal, but that wastes a lot of good sperms as well. But when we do an IUI, we collect all the good sperms, and with the help of a very fine catheter, which is like a straw, these sperms are all put directly into the uterus. So they don't get wasted, number one. And we are also crossing the barriers of the vagina where there's a lot of acidity. We are crossing the cervix, putting the sperms very close to where the egg has been released. The rest of the process takes place in the body. They will fertilize on their own. Now, when we do an IVF, we go a few steps further, because for an IUI, we still need very healthy fallopian tubes. They will pick up the egg and bring it into the uterus. There are tests to find out if the tube is open or blocked, but an open tube may not necessarily be a functioning tube, and there is no way to find out if it is a functioning tube or not, if it's being able to bring the egg into the uterus or not. So that is where IVF helps, because here we are not relying on the fallopian tube. We take the eggs out and fertilize them. Another place where a natural attempt or an IUI may fail is even if the eggs and the sperms meet, the sperm is sometimes unable to fertilize the egg. And in an IVF or an ICSI, we make it fertilize. And then the embryo is directly placed into the uterus. So then nature's job is very easy. It just has to implant. That one step is still left up to nature. So that increases the chances of conceiving compared to IUI 4 to 5 times even higher.
So basically, Doc, in this whole thing of what you just spoke about, I think it's more of a mental thing than going through the actual procedure, right? It's more about mental mind to be absolutely calm rather than going through the people have made it like a big deal, which I think it is not. It's more mentally you need to be all focused there rather than and be strong. Be strong, absolutely.
Absolutely. So when people come to us, they have a lot of misconceptions with IVF. They think it's going to be a painful procedure or a complicated procedure. It's actually a very simple and straightforward procedure. All we're trying to do is get you pregnant, which is a very natural thing that females of all species do. So it's just that the fertilization is taking place outside. The treatment is not painful. We do it in a very simple manner. We take very good care of the woman. And what makes it painful is because there's a lot of mental stress. It's not physically painful. So we try and ensure that mentally as well, she's not stressed out. I always tell my patients one thing, that see, with the IUI, you may have a 20% chance of pregnancy, of conceiving in one attempt. With an IVF, we can increase it to 60 to 70%. There's no treatment where I can tell you with 100% guarantee that you will conceive in one attempt. But I can give you 100% guarantee of one thing. You will not feel any discomfort. That is my responsibility. I will take care of that. Leave the stress up to me. I have to make you pregnant.
But that's amazing, doctor. I think that's so sweet. And automatically, I'm sure the patient feels nice. The minute you tell the patient this, I'm sure they feel nice on their own. I think
they do. It does put them at ease. And if I may share a bit of personal info, I've gone through a lot of IVF cycles myself in my quest of having a baby. So when I talk to a woman, it isn't just as a doctor. I talk to her as a woman who's gone through this, who's been on her side of the table. I know exactly how it feels, and I know exactly how to make her feel more comfortable.
Absolutely. And you know, coming from a female gynec and a female IVF specialist, I'm sure it makes a person more comfortable. You know, they can relate to it and they can help you out and they can make you easy by different kinds of ways to make yourself feel a little better.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're going to continue a lot of questions on that also. Okay, what are the precautions required after undergoing the fertility treatment? Especially now, okay, that's another part. We'll come to the COVID bit, but what are the basic precautions you feel are required?
So the basic precautions are that you have to continue to keep yourself as normal as you always were. Stick to your routine activity level and your routine diet. Dietary precautions are very simple. Don't exceed more than 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day. And of course, after the embryo transfer, you can't smoke or drink. Anything else that you might have heard is a myth. So people come and ask us, oh, if I eat non-veg, it's too hot. No, there's no truth to it at all. People come and ask us, oh, we'll need a lot of bed rest. In fact, studies have shown that taking bed rest after the treatment reduces your chances of getting pregnant, because bed rest is for people who are recovering from an illness. You are not ill. So if you start to put yourself in an unnatural state with reduced activity, nothing in your body will function properly, including conceiving. So keep yourself as close to your routine as you can. The main thing that you can do to improve your chances of getting pregnant is do whatever it takes to keep yourself happy, because it is stressful. I agree. So I always encourage them to, go for a walk with your music on. If you're a working woman and you enjoy working, continue to do that. Pick up a hobby. If you like to paint, anything that keeps you happy is going to help your state of mind. And the more positive you are, the better your chances will be.
Thank you. That's great to know. Thank you so much. Okay, is it true that IVF always leads to twins? Doctor, what is your
Well,
take on?
not always. It no longer leads to more than twins, like triplets or quadruplets, especially at a clinic like mine or clinics like mine, where we don't transfer more than 2 embryos. So there is no way that you can have triplets or quadruplets. And even though we don't transfer more than 2 embryos, we are very happy to transfer just one healthy embryo if the couple is okay with that. And even if we transfer two, not everyone ends up with twins. You can say out of 10 women, 6 or 7 would still have a single pregnancy, and out of 10, 3 or 4 may end up with twins.
Okay. Okay, finally now, not finally, actually it's one of my questions. I forgot to put it up. Doctor, during this COVID time, how is it? How are you all treating the patients who've been coming to you and they stopped coming, and all the infections everybody's hearing about and it's spreading rapidly? How are you all taking this full scenario right now? How are
So,
you
in the month of April, we had completely stopped working. But at that time, we had assumed that it would be a matter of a couple of months. And as time went by and we realized that this isn't going anywhere, it's been 6 months now. For some women, waiting for 6 months becomes the whole difference between being able to conceive with their own eggs and having to take donated eggs. A IVF process is very simple too, but it's a personal choice. And for some women, that's not acceptable. So now they have started coming back. 6 months is too long a wait. Some of them are undergoing the treatment and freezing their embryos that will transfer it when the COVID scenario is a little better. Many of them have even undergone the embryo transfer, because this is becoming a situation we are having to learn to live with, taking all the precautions. So we take all the stringent precautions at our clinic as well, and we keep that in mind and go ahead with the treatment.
Okay, doc, suppose you've done the first cycle and it doesn't work. So how much gap do you give for the second cycle to happen?
Now,
Yes.
medically speaking, you don't really need a gap. As soon as you get your next period, we do a baseline scan. If we see any ovarian cysts, which are common, they can crop up from month to month, then we need to give you a break of 1 month. Otherwise, it's absolutely all right to start immediately again. But if the woman is feeling mentally exhausted, or, sometimes she says, but my brother was supposed to get married this month, what do I do now? I tell them, please go, please go. Come back and continue your treatment. Don't put your life on hold because of this. So it also depends on the ovarian reserve. Like I was mentioning earlier, you reach a point where it declines very rapidly. In such cases, we tell them each month is precious. But if that is not the case, they can take a break of a month, 2 months. That's fine.
Okay, ideally speaking, right now, what is the, I mean, nowadays or at 2020, 2021, what is the right age to come to you, doc? That okay, freeze our eggs according to you right now, because everyone is working, women are working, and the way the situation is going, this is what's going to be happening, right? So according to you, what is the come on like take on that? Okay, this one you all have to come at this point, because otherwise you're losing time. What is the right age?
So, actually earlier the better, because the best quality eggs are given out in our 20s. So the way our bodies have been designed, biologically speaking, a lot of our eggs have got chromosomal abnormalities. That is normal for our species. In the 20s, out of every 10 eggs we produce, 1 or 2 will be abnormal. By 30, this ratio has become half-half. After 30, out of every 10 eggs we produce, there is a likelihood that many of them will be abnormal. Now, I understand at the age of 24 or 25, it's very difficult for a girl to think about this. So practically speaking, at least by the time she's reached 30 or 32, we can do it beyond that also. We've done it for older women also, but the chances are better if you do it at a younger age.
That's good to know. And I think awareness will be what it takes to let people know about this whole scenario. Okay, doctor, coming to know about the money part, monetarily, how is it? How expensive is the procedure? Because a lot of people cannot afford IVF. What is your take on that?
So what happens is that, as I was mentioning, there are different treatment options. And for somebody where we feel this, correcting the hormonal problems or trying with an IUI would help, we don't necessarily push them for an IVF. IUI is much cheaper. Your entire process, inclusive of your tablets, injections, can get wrapped up between 12 to 20,000. Now, for those who need IVF, yes, IVF is more expensive, but then it's more expensive, but it's cost effective. Because if you keep spending money and time doing the simpler treatment options that are not going to work, you've actually wasted money there that you could have saved up and used for IVF. We also have EMI options. So that makes it very easy for couples who are not able to, pay the whole lump sum in one go. Now, when it comes to IVF, depending on the doses of injections required, it's case to case, it's different. It would vary somewhere between 1.5 to 2 lakhs for one attempt. But then, as I said, there are EMI options as well, so they don't have to pay all of it in one go.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, doc, how has it changed from the last 10-15 years to now, going to a IVF clinic, especially because people used to hesitate. My God, I'm not going to go to a fertility clinic. I mean, that means that I definitely have a problem. Do you see a change in the outlook of women and couples now?
Yeah, there is. There definitely is. As I was saying at the start, they're becoming more aware. So they are starting to come up and come out and meet us. Even sometimes they just come and say, we just got married and we are not going to start planning just yet, but we just wanted to have an evaluation done so we know there's no major problem that needs to be corrected. And the treatments have changed from then to now. There have been a lot of advances in the embryology part, the lab part. So now we are able to give them much better quality embryos compared to what they used to be in the past. Even the injection protocols have become much simpler. Earlier, maybe about 10 or 15 years back, there were a lot of injections that used to be used. But as time has gone by, as science keeps getting more advanced, the process has become much simpler. So even the injections have reduced now. And not just that, ICMR, the Indian Council for Medical Research, has laid down certain guidelines that they expect clinics to follow. My clinic follows them to the T. And one of them includes the presence of a full-time on-board clinical psychologist. So, I mean, I counsel all my patients myself as well. But for those who need a bit more, professional counseling, this is free of cost that we offer. We have a counselor who can help them, who can guide them. So in a lot of ways, it's become more patient-friendly now.
Great, great. Sulbha, okay, tell me something. When they are visiting a doctor, an IVF specialist, do you think they need to even visit a counselor at that time to keep themselves mentally stable?
The stress levels differ from person to person. What happens in our country, there's a lot of emphasis on fertility. So we do have women coming from backgrounds where they come and sit in front of me and they break down crying that bacha nahi hua to saas dusri bahu le aayegi. And at that time, fertility aside, I'm first trying to make sure that she's okay. And if the stress levels are that high, it's definitely preferable to speak to the counselor right away. There are others who are a lot more aware. There are people who say that we want to try for a child, but we've already accepted that if it doesn't work out, We are okay being child free as well. And if they are not stressed out enough, they may not necessarily need a counselor.
Okay, good. Okay, doctor, we've spoken a lot about women need to do this and stuff. What about men? Yeah, we have to talk about the husbands. Where do they need to focus on? Come on, like we also have to make ourselves prepared for this. We are getting into this as a couple. So what is
Yeah.
lacking in, what do you think is lacking in the men? It's all about the women,
So
yes, but what about the men? What is lacking in them?
a few things. One is that a lot of them are smokers. I mean, some women as well, of course. But for a man who smokes and the couple is trying to have a child, there's a huge impact on the sperm quality. So ideally, they need to try and quit that. And secondly, and more importantly, this is a difficult journey. So it's very important for the husband and the wife to be very supportive of each other. So the woman is going through all this, and physically she's the one who's enduring it, and it really makes it easier for her if the husband is supportive through this as well. a lot of them a lot of them come with the wives for every single scan, and they ask me, okay, tell us how to take these injections, how to take these tablets. Even when the test reports are expected, they tell me, you call me and tell me, I will explain to her, don't call her directly, she'll get disturbed. It's so wonderful to see the kind of support that a lot of husbands are giving now. You won't believe they even want to attend the egg pickup and embryo transfer with the wife. Gone are the days where we used to hear that the husbands are attending deliveries. Now they are attending embryo transfers, and they're taking pictures and videos. And
But that's good. That's good to
it
know.
is. It's, yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Okay, doctor, what about the men? Do they also need to get themselves tested? If women have to freeze the eggs, what about the men? What do they do?
So as their age goes by, they are luckier. There isn't that much of an impact on sperm quality. Unless the man's age is over 50, then we do start to see a decrease in the sperm quality. But yeah, there are certain conditions where the sperm quality keeps declining as time goes by. So in such cases, they can freeze their sperms and keep. Then there are people who are, going through chemotherapy and things like that, where the sperm count is going to become completely zero. They need to freeze their sperms as well. And also people who use a lot of sports supplements, especially steroids, sperm counts can come down to zero. So they also should be freezing their sperms while there are still, it's so easy to freeze a sperm. All they have to do is something that they enjoy doing anyway. Give us the sample in a jar. I mean, it's true.
Absolutely, absolutely, Doc. So great. I think it's been super informative. I think you've answered most of the questions. Somebody asked us about this session. Yes, this session is going to be saved on my IGTV. And as I said, Dr. Sulbha, you can always DM her. You can message me. I will even. Doctor, are you open to visits and even a WhatsApp if somebody shares with you, if wants to call you up? Are you open to that? Because some people want to be in touch with you. Is that okay?
In fact, I really encourage it. Even before the COVID pandemic hit, I used to give my personal number to all my patients. I always told them, you can ask me 100 questions. I will explain patiently. Don't look for answers on Google. You will be misled. After the COVID pandemic has started, all the more we encourage people to be in touch with us over WhatsApp. We can do a teleconsultation. We can do video calls. Anything we can do to minimize their physical visits to the clinic. We are absolutely okay with that.
That's amazing.
A call from Indira.
This live, I think it's amazing, and of course I'm going to be sharing it on my IGTV, and y'all can go back to it and see it. Post 7 o'clock, it will be on my Insta handle as well. And Dr. Sulbha is of course open in a clinic to answer and discuss all the questions and queries. Okay, I'm having my rapid fire now, doctor. Are you ready? It's going to be
Absolutely.
going to be very easy, and of course I know you're a very honest person, so it's going to be honest.
Sure.
So, Doc, the first thing is, how honest are you to your patient?
Like 100%. There is no place for dishonesty. We are absolutely transparent. If once I've evaluated them, even though I know how difficult it is to accept certain decisions, like having to take donated eggs, I will tell them, look, these are your choices. These are the options. With your own eggs, maybe there is a 10 or a 20% chance, but the choice should always be hers. That is more important. So we are always very honest with our patients.
So, but you actually tell them, you're going to be a little bad one, and they'll be like, what the hell is she telling me? I mean, are you okay to just spill the beans completely?
I think it's better that you tell them honestly, because if you try to, we obviously we have a lot of compassion and empathy in the way we convey it to the patient. That is very important. We have to make sure that it's not coming as a shock. She is not getting disturbed. Anything that we have to tell her. What is even more difficult is when they've undergone an IVF and the pregnancy test report is negative. But even then, we have a very honest discussion with them. In fact, at every step during the IVF, in every scan that I do, I turn the ultrasound screen around. I show it to her on the screen. These are your follicles. This is how they are forming. The more informed they are, the easier it is for them to go through it. The easier it is for them to take decisions.
Great, super. We have a question there by Preeti Khare, but I'm going to come back to that once I finish the rapid fire. Okay, the second question is, what are the top 3 remedies to conceive faster?
And focus on the fertile period. And if there are problems with a borderline sperm count, with PCO, trying naturally doesn't give rise to a good success rate, then they need to go for IUI. The highest chances of pregnancy are with IVF, but we don't necessarily push anyone for IVF if we feel the simpler options will work.
Okay, doc. Generally, IVF or surrogacy?
Surrogacy is only for somebody who physically can't carry the baby. There have been women, who had a hysterectomy because of fibroids or because of a cancer. If the uterus doesn't exist from birth, they will have to take a surrogate. Or if somebody has a cardiac condition where it's risky for her, they'll have to take a surrogate. For no other indication, if her uterus is fine and her health is good, then IVF, not surrogacy.
Okay, but surprisingly, because of us, it's not a part of my question, because you're talking about this, so it just came to me, because of the socializing and to be in that it crowd and having fun and partying every weekend and having that fun, you think surrogacy is an easier way to get into it and forget the IVF and all? Do you think so? People are doing that as well?
I get queries like that all the time, but we point blank refuse because it's not legal to do that.
Really?
Yes. You can't just have somebody else carry your baby because you don't want to.
So it's being selfish, right? The couple is being very selfish. Absolutely.
Yeah, you could put it that way, yes.
They're being selfish. Okay.
Yeah.
Coming back to the question, does a mother easily accept a child by using surrogacy? Is it okay?
Yes, they do. Because the very fact that they've come to the stage where they've realized this is now our only option, and surrogacy is much more expensive than IVF as well. So they've put, if they've reached surrogacy, they've gone through a lot of trauma of trying without surrogacy before they reach that stage. So yes, they do. They very well accept it. They go into it knowing that it's going to be their child.
Coming back to our men, our favorite topic, do men easily accept the blame that it's them and it's not their wives who are to be blamed for not conceiving? Is it easy for them to accept it now, doctor? I mean, they're okay to put the blame, not blame, that you are the one who's lacking it. It's not me, Is it?
No, we see patients from many different socioeconomic strata, from different backgrounds, different educational backgrounds as well, different upbringings as well. So we do have a certain, section of people who, in spite of them knowing there is a problem of this with their sperm count, have left their wives and remarried, hoping the next one will get pregnant. But a good thing is that with the more educated, with the more aware, we don't see that problem. We see them accepting. They know that the problem lies with the sperm count, and then we need to take a treatment option that will still give them a chance to conceive.
But that's really good to hear that we have men who are changing in our society. Men do understand that.
Yes.
That's really good to know. Okay, we'll come back to a question where we had here. I think you were very honest, doctor, which I knew that you are going to be very honest. I didn't know what else to put on a rapid fire with you now, because you honestly answered everything so nicely. You've explained everything so well and so easily. And of course, I'm talking to an expert, so I very well knew where I'm coming. Okay, we have a question by Preeti Khare. Hi, Preeti. She's asking, if a woman freezes her eggs in her 20s, how do you assess her physical health if she wants to fertilize them in her 40s? What are the options of conception?
So, yes, now what is happening is that because a lot of people are even marrying late after 35, after 40, and we are seeing a much earlier onset of metabolic disorders like diabetes and blood pressure, we do get a lot of women who are already suffering from this and yet trying to conceive. First, we will make sure that she's medically fit, that she's taking her medication, her sugar levels are under control, she's hypertension is under control. And once a physician certifies that she's okay to carry the baby, then we go ahead with the embryo transfer for her.
Okay. I hope Preeti is clear with the answer what she gave. Okay, Sulbha, I have a question now. I want to ask you. Today, if somebody cannot conceive, today everybody doesn't get everything in life. You think destiny is what fits in, and if it's not in your destiny, you will not have a child. And it's a very sad answer to give somebody, but do you agree with destiny part here? If it's
I absolutely do. Because, there have been times when we've had very, very good quality embryos, top grade embryos, like textbook perfect embryos, and the woman has still not got pregnant. And there have been times, on the other hand, where we felt that there is less than 5% chance, the eggs have run out, there's almost nothing left, the woman is almost menopausal, not willing to take donor eggs. We've got one or two very, very poor quality eggs, and she still delivered a very healthy baby. So if this isn't destiny, what is it? I don't think science alone can explain it.
So there are cases where you know that everything is fine with the woman, but still she's not able to carry a child. Is that what you're saying, Doc?
So a lot of cases where the woman is not conceiving come under the category of what we call unexplained infertility, where the reports are all fine. Now, unexplained infertility, as science progresses, we are now realizing that it's not necessarily unexplained, it's undiagnosed, because there are a lot of factors that can't be diagnosed by the routine tests that are available. A few more tests have come up in the last 5 or 6 years that have started to give us a bit more of answers about where we thought there's no problem, why isn't she conceiving? The advanced tests do give us the answers. But this is a very dynamic field. It's growing at a very rapid pace. And as it advances more, we'll have a lot more answers.
Okay, great. Since you mentioned about menopause, very, very important question. We are in our 40s. What is like a pre-menopause thing, and when is the actual time you're menopausing? Because right now, any which ways we are COVID. We're sitting in this COVID situation, doctor. And Sulbha, we are all home. We do go through our mood swings and we get irritated. Have you already hit the pre-menopause bit? What is it exactly?
So, now what is happening, earlier we could say that menopause usually happens between 45 and 50 years of age. But now we are seeing this happening at earlier ages as well. So when I explain to my patients, I tell them this is an aging process. Age affects everyone's body differently. So to give you an example, it's like graying of hair. You'll have one woman who has gray hairs at 24, 25. You'll have another one who doesn't have gray hair till 40. So similarly, the aging process affects everyone's ovaries differently. So you'll have women who are reaching the perimenopausal stage even in their 30s, but most of them still reach that even now at 40 or a little after 40. Now, perimenopause means where you start feeling the body, the hormonal changes and things like that. Although as far as fertility is concerned, that starts declining a little bit before that itself.
Okay. What are the symptoms, Sulbha, for pre-menopause thing, basically? What are the main things that you're like, okay, you are kind of menopausing? What is it?
So there are a few hormonal effects that we can see, such as hot flashes. You suddenly start to feel so hot, you want to just tear away your clothes and throw them. It's very difficult to describe feeling. There are mood swings, which more than the woman, the husband complains of. And that, she's erratic, she's irritable, she's losing her temper at small things. And the women do tell us this also, but mostly the men. Then there are things like, vaginal dryness. When they're trying to have relations, they tell us they're not lubricated enough, they're not comfortable enough. These are the main perimenopausal effects that you see. And with your cycles as well, they start to get irregular. So where you've had irregular cycles all your life, in the perimenopausal time, you can even start having shorter cycles, 15, 20 days, or you may even skip them for 2 or 3 months.
That is the time when you feel that you're maybe hitting somewhere the pre. Okay, do you even go on your mom's? A lot of people say that you will hit menopause. You're going to ask your mom or check with your mother. Is that true, Sulbha?
So now with there is, see, that's a hereditary thing, a genetic thing, but the genes play only one part of the role. The environment plays a much larger role, and our environment, the world that we live in compared to the world our previous generations lived in, is extremely toxic. There are more than 20,000 chemicals in our environment now, and it is very difficult to even pinpoint which chemical causes what. So you'll be shocked to know that, even the bottles used for feeding babies, when you put warm milk, they secrete a chemical that mimics estrogen. And there is a very interesting book that I read called Our Stolen Future. It's not a medical book, so any of the viewers who like reading, pick up that book. It's eye-opening, and it will tell you why infertility is increasing, cancer is increasing, and a few other problems as well. And that is also giving rise to earlier menopause because we are running out of eggs faster. And like I was mentioning earlier, smoking plays a role. So women who smoke will also attain menopause at an earlier age. So it's no longer just dependent on at what age our parents got it, our moms got it.
So shisha and smoking are similar? Like suppose you're not doing smoking and you're doing shisha, it's similar, same thing?
So shisha contains a lot less tobacco or nicotine than a smoke does. Also, see, with smoking as well, it depends on the amount that you're smoking. If you're a chain smoker, obviously it's going to have more of an effect. If you have one odd cigarette a day, it's not going to have as much of an impact. And those who smoke shisha, I'm assuming, do it socially. Nobody smokes shisha all day at home, I'm guessing.
So, I mean, this is a question for all the people who are even watching us. Okay,
Yeah.
somebody behind, my bhabhi was there and she asked, what age do usually periods need to stop?
Stop. As I mentioned, it's different for everyone. So you can see that there have been the one odd case I've seen where it stopped in the 20s itself. For most women, though, it's still usually between 42 and 46. Some even go up to 47, 48.
I hope that was fine. I think we picked up, answered most of the questions. Okay, Sulbha, the last question from your side. No, one message first of all, and then I'll come to my last thing. One message would you like to give all the viewers who are watching us, who are in the middle of the IVF cycle in the house, just keeping it calm, and some who are going through it and have to go for another cycle again after a month? What is your one message to all of them?
My one message is that don't put your life on hold. First of all, continue to do everything else that you were fond of doing. Don't make this your mission. You will conceive. Sometimes this journey requires a bit of patience. Focus on your mental health. That's very, very important because these treatments can take a toll. And another thing it can take a toll on are your marital relations. The expectations of a husband and a wife are often different. We expect our husbands to just understand. They won't necessarily just understand. They may not be able to express the same way we do. So keep your communication with your partner good. Communicate everything and be patient with each other and patient with yourselves.
So guys, please don't fight with your spouses. At this time, just stay calm, stay patient. We are all just living in the same house with each other, so everybody should be staying patiently right now. Absolutely. Okay, Sulbha, we all know this is a mental health awareness month. What is your take on how to keep yourself mentally stable?
Well, like I mentioned before, that it's very important to focus on doing anything that makes you happy. I shared a very good video yesterday on my Instagram. You people can see it on how to hack the happiness chemicals. A long list of things that you can do. They're all very simple measures. And more importantly than that, what happens is that, you go through traumatic phases of your life. I went through one too. The last year has been very tough for me after I lost my husband. Fortunately for me, I have got a very, very, very powerful mentor, a very good spiritual teacher, and he just guides you so well. It's like you automatically find the answers. You find how to maintain your peace. And in fact, we have an FB Live with him today at 9 p.m. It's for anyone who's watching and you're interested at 9 p.m. on Facebook. The handle is called Hingori Sutras. Do tune in. It's definitely going to help you.
That's great. I think most of us did hear it. I, of course, also believe in Hingori Sutras. I follow their page. I read their books. And of course, it's a lot of, spirituality, of course. I think it's somewhere down the line, we all somewhere feel it's good to be spiritual, but at what aspect and how much to meditate? I think it's great to follow somebody, and you should have a mentor in your life and the right path. If you're in, you need that guidance in your life. Absolutely.
Yeah, because if you have a good spiritual guide, you start to realize, why are you trying to look for happiness based on circumstances, based on people? You need to find it within you, and you need to understand what you need to do to reach that stage. So yes, it's very important.
Absolutely. So I think that was just amazing, Sulbha. It was just awesome to have you with me. I think it was one of my best lives I've had today. It was said in a very simpler way for everybody to understand. There were not many complications and the words to feel. You even made IVF sound very simple, not complicated, and I hope people do get to hear this. I mean, it's going to be saved on my IGTV, guys, and I hope you all felt that, yes, what she's speaking is making a lot of sense. And it's not a very big hawa, as they say. It's not a very big deal that to go for an IVF. Do think about it, and if it can help you, why not? And of course, Dr. Sulbha, as she said, is always there to help you. Thank you so much, Sulbha, and a big hug from far. Hopefully, we should meet soon. And
I'm looking forward to it, Vinti. Thank you so much for hosting me today. Of course, I couldn't explain too much, but for anyone who wants to know more, I'm always there.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching us. Like she said, of course, about the Hingori Sutras, where she would be watching on Facebook Live today. Likewise, I would be also going on Facebook today at 9 o'clock to watch about what exactly is Hingori Sutras talking today about spirituality, how spiritual are we in our life, and what exactly is it. So do tune in today at 9 o'clock on Facebook. And thank you, Sulbha, so much. And
thank you, Vinti. It's been great chatting with you.
You, it's a great, I swear, really, at least, like this, I feel that I can see that, okay, fine, she's doing okay, she's looking good, and listen, this year has not been so bad for you, as I said, you've been ranked top 9, yeah, it's like it's completely
Vinti, yeah, okay, that's a good thing. Of course, it feels good to get recognition, but what's really been good for me this year is that people are all even more stressed out than they were in the past, and nothing feels better than be able to make a difference in somebody's life. And I
totally agree with you, Sulbha. I mean, I swear to God, I never knew in my dreams I would be doing Insta lives. I never thought. It's all because this just time has just become like that, and I was an influencer, and I just like, okay, chalo, let me starting doing a lives or whatever, but I never thought I would be doing Insta lives. So yes, of course, this is the time, whatever keeps us happy, keeps us calm, keeps us patient. So I guess this is what we have to do. So thank you so much, all of you all, for watching us and being patient. Thank you once again, Sulbha. And
thank you, Vinti.
All of you all. Thank you so much, Sulbha. Take care. Bye.
You too, Vinti. Bye.
Okay, so all of you guys who watched us on a live session with me and Dr. Sulbha, I would be saving this IGTV video on my page. So do go on it. If you have any questions, you can DM Dr. Sulbha yourself, and you can either WhatsApp me or you can even DM her, and she would be there to help you. Hope you all enjoyed this session. Of course, it was not meant for a lot of people, but for a lot of people who are sailing and who are into this situation, I hope it worked, it helped. So all you guys, lots of love. Stay safe, stay happy. Just do whatever makes you happy. Don't think about, oh my God, this is not right. There is nothing like right or wrong. If it sails your boat, that is what is important. So please stay safe, and God bless all of you all. Keep smiling and shining. Lots of love, guys. Bye.